Time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Hello everybody, welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoon Boom! This is a show where we wake up with a Saturday morning sun popped on the floor with a big bowl of sugary cereal and I'll share your favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And this morning we watched Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. That's the one.
Yeah, that one. The one where he says that. That's the one we watched.
So every single one.
Yeah. And this was our first Scooby-Doo cartoon that we've reviewed on this podcast that doesn't have Shaggy wearing a red shirt. So there's history right there. History in the making, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to remember this day.
It's weird that we started with red shirt Shaggy and
Since
did that whole saga and then moved on to the more common green shirt.
I have a question for you. What is with this whole Shaggy is like infinitely powerful meme? Like what? I don't understand this at all, but I was streaming earlier and Nickel Force pops in and he's talking about how, or no, it wasn't Nickel Force. Was it David Bond was messaging our Facebook and was talking about how he's more powerful than Thanos. And I'm like, why? Where did this come from?
Yeah, I have no idea, but I've been seeing it pop up everywhere. I don't know what the origin of it is, but I'm for it, man. There's a big push for them to add him as a DLC character for Mortal Kombat 11, I think. So, yeah, I really hope that happens.
Nice. Yeah, I just don't understand it at all.
I don't think there's anything to understand. I think it just is, and we just have to accept it that Shaggy is all powerful.
He's all powerful, I guess. You know, we'll just go with it. Like who would win in a fight between Superman and One Punch Man? Shaggy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it works now.
Right.
And this episode was, or the show was suggested to us by ThePreciseClimber on YouTube. So thank you very much, ThePreciseClimber. I think this is the second suggestion we've gotten from you that we have completed. So thank you.
Yeah, I believe so, because that name sounds super familiar.
Yeah.
But the show Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated aired from 2010 to 2013, developed by Mitch Watson, Spike Brandt, and Tony Cervoni. That sounds cool. Produced by Warner Brothers Animation, ran for 2 seasons, 52 episodes on Cartoon Network. For a short synopsis, written by TB4000, I'm assuming this is some sort of Terminator model. I'm not sure.
I think it is.
But they've gained sentience, and their only purpose is to write IMDb synopsi.
Yeah, I think it's going to be in the next movie. You know, they're kind of doing not so much a reboot, but they're ignoring all the bad sequels, and they're going to pick up from Judgment Day. And I think that this is definitely the new threat, is the one that can go in and change IMDb descriptions.
Yeah, TB4000, also known as Kenneth Chisholm. This is Kenneth Chisholm
that's
with
his model.
Yeah, his human skin has been torn off, and now his model TB4000 has been revealed.
Holy crap! I suspected this whole time, but I wasn't sure.
We knew, like deep in our hearts, we knew.
I think you're right.
So, the synopsis that he wrote was: Scooby-Doo and the gang attempt to solve creepy mysteries in the town of Crystal Cove, a place with a history of eerie supernatural events.
That's very true. I mean, that's probably the best description you could really give. So without giving too much away.
Right. Such a good description that it could only be written by some sort of artificial intelligence.
Yeah. The TB4000 Kenneth Chisholm model.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So who are some of the actors who played in this show?
So I'm gonna say right now the main cast, which is like the Scooby Gang, the mystery machinists, if you will. I didn't realize this. They have all been voicing these characters for a very long time. There's been way more TV, movie, and direct to DVD cartoon movies than I had any inkling of. Like, there's so many, and I guess there's been other Scooby-Doo cartoons I didn't know existed. So this group has been voicing these characters a long time. But of course, the one voicing these characters the longest is the voice of Fred and also the voice of Scooby-Doo. Not the original voice of Scooby-Doo, but he is the original voice of Fred. This is Frank Welker. who is absolutely the voice of everything. He's even the voice of me and the voice of Joseph, if you didn't know that. If they ever make an IMDb page for us, they will list Frank Welker as voicing both of us. Didn't know if you guys knew that.
Whenever we're sick or we need to take a break, Frank just fills in for us.
He just fills in. And dude, his voice sounds no different than it did in the 1960s. It's crazy.
He still sounds like a young man. He still sounds like young Fred.
It's flawless. I just couldn't believe it. Original voice of Scooby-Doo is Don Messick, but in Don Messick's passing, then Frank had taken over duties, and he has been Scooby, I think, in any iteration ever since. And he's pretty much always been Fred. Obviously, not aside from the live action movies that, let's not really get much into those. The voice of Velma was Mindy Cohn. The voice of Daphne was Gray Griffin, also sometimes known as Gray Delisle, but I think she's officially changed her name on IMDb. So we'll just call her Gray Griffin now, which is a cool name. The voice of Shaggy was Matthew Lillard, which I said, let's not talk about the live action movies, but Matthew Lillard is the one that played Shaggy in the live action movies. So he was probably the only cool part of those movies because I like him a lot and I didn't like those movies at all. And I'm sorry to all of my fellow millennials that are now angry at me for not liking those movies.
I've never seen the live action movies.
Don't do it.
Okay.
The only appreciation you'll get is that in one of the movies, Scrappy-Doo is actually the main villain.
Oh, yeah. I'd heard about that.
Which is, that is funny. And then I'm going to mention two more people here. That is the voice of Sheriff Stone, which is just undoubtedly Patrick Warburton. And I'm sure you knew that immediately because that
right
voice
away.
That voice is amazing and there's no mistaking him. And then the voice of Mr. E was Lewis Black, the famous, very dark-humored comedian Lewis Black. And that was cool. I've never seen him in anything else aside from his stand-up and stuff. And I was just like, wow, he's pretty decent at doing voice acting and stuff. I don't know if he'd done any other stuff, but yeah, it was good. And this was a great cast. I was really happy to see that the main Scooby Gang had been together for a very long time, and that they kept Fred in, kept Frank in as Fred and Scooby. That just warms my heart in other areas of my body.
Yeah, the cast was great for this. They were all fitting. They all sounded like I expected the characters to.
Absolutely.
Man, and there were so many great voice actors in this that I'll probably be dropping in, or not even just voice actors, so many cool guest actors who are in this. So I'll probably just be dropping in as we go through.
Do it.
But for now, here's a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of mystery ink cereal. So unlike the previous Scooby-Doo series, this series features intra-episode story arcs, including an overarching mystery that spans all 52 episodes. Some of the material for the series-long story arc was based on development work done on an unproduced animated series adaptation of The Goonies from 1985.
Oh, really?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. I like that trivia.
Also, several famous scenes were recreated from films like The Shining and Twin Peaks. And I also heard there was some nods to Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th as well. So this thing is packed full of little horror gems.
Yeah.
And I just think that's really cool.
There's so much. And I mean, come on, if you think of Crystal Lake versus Crystal Cove, I mean, right away, there's kind of a little bit of a nod there.
Oh, yeah, and for sure.
There were so many scenes that I'm like, holy crap, that's a nod to this. And I was getting so excited. I mean, there's some very obvious ones we'll get into, especially H.P. Lovecraft. Huge homages to him in the second episode.
Oh my gosh. They're not even trying to hide that.
Oh, yeah. I know. And it's fantastic the whole time. But yeah, there are so many things that if you don't pay attention, you're going to miss it. And it's just they just keep hitting you over and over with homage and references and all kinds of cool stuff that just you get super excited to see and hear it all.
Yeah, for sure. And also something, I don't know if you noticed this, but in several episodes, you can see a resident of Crystal Cove who looks like the actor Don Knotts as he was drawn in the early series.
Yes, he showed up in the early series all the time. But yeah, there is a very Don Knotts looking guy. In one of the first scenes of the first episode when Velma's describing that doing that tourism thing. Yeah, he's just standing right there. And I was just like, that's Don Knotts. And I was hoping for a voice that sounded like it, but no voice. But he did look like it. And I was happy.
Yeah, like he doesn't speak at all to my knowledge, at least not in the episodes we watched, but he kept appearing. And I thought that was really cool. A nice little homage to him because he did used to be in the original series, or at least one of the original series, a lot.
Yeah, he showed up all the time. And then that's why, like, we on one of our old podcasts, I keep bringing this old podcast up, but we used to do these like fake commercials for the show, like fake sponsors. And we wrote one once that was like a parody. It was like a CW take on Scooby-Doo called Mystery Machine. And we definitely made a Don Knotts joke in the middle of that. So it's just he was so associated with that in my mind that like I couldn't not write that in.
Yeah.
So I was really happy to see there's a joke about him in here that he keeps showing up and everything. And I'm like, okay, it's not just me. Like obviously the other fans associate Don Knotts with Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, and like when I first saw him, I was like, "Oh, no way!" Like I immediately recognized it. Immediately hit me with that nostalgia of watching the old cartoon.
Yep, absolutely.
Also, the name of the town has changed from Coolsville, which is what I guess it originally was in this series, to Crystal
they
Cove.
Changed it.
Yeah, luckily.
Thank God. That would have been terrible. That would have been better as like an Archie cartoon or something.
Yeah. Other Hanna-Barbera characters occasionally guest star as well, including Captain Caveman, Jabberjaw, Speed Buggy, the Funky Phantom, Blue Falcon, and Dynamite, and more.
Holy crap, really?
Yeah, I guess. We didn't see any of those, but we only watched like...
How did they do it?
I have no idea how they would incorporate that, unless it's like people dressed up as some of these characters or something.
Yeah.
No idea. But
it's interesting because it's such a grounded take on the show. You know, it's not like... I don't know. I guess maybe it isn't with all those characters, but with episodes we saw, it was so grounded. Like, you know, things were explained through science and technology and stuff like that, rather than there's nothing supernatural about it until obviously the end. So
it's like your basic Scooby-Doo formula with like the masked criminals, but slowly but surely that supernatural portion starts to unveil itself.
Yep.
So had you ever heard of this show before, or was this one new to you as well?
It was new to me up until it first got suggested, which I feel like was a year or more ago. I mean, just because the sheer volume of requests that we have, I mean, we can't get them all because there's only, you know, so many, you know, weekends in a year. So there's that. But yeah, that was the first time I heard of it. And I do want to say, though, that I'm a huge fan of the original Scooby-Doo cartoon. That is one of my all-time favorite cartoons because of all the different monster villain things and just I just love it. There's something special and magically sinister about the original. And this, I've seen a few other Scooby-Doo cartoons over the years, but nothing I feel like really caught my attention much. Except this brought me back to that magic and that nostalgia that I yearned for from that first, that original Scooby-Doo cartoon. So, man, I was so excited. Like the first 10 minutes of watching this thing, you know, in fact, the first 6 minutes, I have a note that I've laughed so many times and I've just been having a great time. So I feel like, you know, in a weird way, this is part of that original series because it feels like that.
Yeah, real like it's an obvious like homage to the original series, and by the original, I think you're talking about Scooby-Doo. Where Are You? Is that the original?
Yes.
This is the 11th series they've done of Scooby-Doo.
Oh man,
there's a 12th one that is out that came out right after this one. It was called Be Cool Scooby-Doo, and now there's a 13th one that's on the way this year called Scooby-Doo and Guess Who.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, and that one's going to be more along the lines of the new Scooby-Doo movies, the old school ones where they had guest stars on like every single one, where it was like Batman and Robin, you know, Don Knotts, the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh my God, that would be
so
great.
they're gonna bring like some current celebrities and also like, you know, fake people. Like I'm pretty sure Batman's coming back to it also.
Oh yes.
So. And Steve Urkel's going to be in it as well.
No way. I hope I want them to bring in a version of Batman that is not the Adam West one because he fits so well with Scooby-Doo. I hope they bring in one of the other Batman, either animated or a version of like the live action ones, just because of how weird it would be.
Yeah.
Like I want to hear a conversation where Scooby-Doo's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa," and he's like, "Scooby-Doo, where are you?" Just that would be a conversation that you won't understand, but it'll be amazing just to see happen.
I know you need somebody in the background, like trying to translate. Like, I don't understand a word either of them are saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it would also be cool to have like the Kevin Conroy Batman in there.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah. I that's honestly the very first one I thought of. And he'd be up for it, dude. Like he'll voice Batman again for that. I mean,
also Mark Hamill's going to be in it too, just as one of the guests, and he'll probably do like Joker or something somewhere along the line too.
That'd be great.
This isn't about that show, but I'm just excited about it because I like those old guest shows that they used to do.
Oh yeah, man.
So I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I hadn't really heard. I mean, I'd heard of this one only in name only because there's just been so many Scooby-Doos like over the years that I just kind of stopped paying attention to it. Not that I've ever like disliked Scooby-Doo. It's just like it was oversaturated and I just didn't really have a place where I could fit it in. So like you, I have a fondness for the original one. And even 13 Ghost, I like to some degree, not Flim Flam, but other things like, about it I enjoy.
Yeah, even though it's like one of the worst cartoons ever made. Because I mean the production was so bad and some of the characters were just, you hate them so much. But I mean there's still like a fondness that you can have for it because of the subject matter, honestly. I mean, because it's you got Scooby and Shaggy and some of the gang and plus, I mean, me and you were just so much into monsters and stuff like that. So it's hard not to like that stuff. With this one, I just or at least with the other Scooby-Doo cartoons, I just didn't expect them to be any good. That's why this one threw me for such a loop.
Yeah, absolutely. I was coming in expecting it to be pretty much more of the same. Yeah. I was like, oh, what can they do new that's not going to try to be like, I don't know, like too hip or too cool or something, or try to like modernize it too much. So what they ended up doing was like the perfect middle ground for me, where it's like, bringing back the original show essentially with a more modern kind of take on it. Yeah. While still paying respect to the old show and also kind of in a joking manner, really. Like it's like they're telling themselves, or they're telling the audience like, yeah, we know some of these things are silly, so we're just going to like own up to it and, make it part of the show. We're not going to ignore it. We're not going to, get rid of it altogether. We're just going to make it part of the comedy of it. Right. And it works so well in that way. So let's go ahead and jump to the episodes we watched for today's show. The very first episode, highest rated episode, finally random listener chosen episode. Order may vary depending on how these episodes fall chronologically, but of course I have to start with the very first episode, which was Beware the Beast from Below, Season 1, Episode 1. In this one, the gang has to battle police and parental involvement while trying to solve the mystery of a slime mutant who's trapping his victims in a gelatinous cocoon.
Yeah, that's the thing. The thing that really got me immediately was like, this episode starts with them like just kind of congratulating themselves on solving another mystery. But then the camera kind of pans out and a jail cell like slams, and they had just been arrested by this Sheriff Stone, voiced by Patrick Warburton, who's, my God, he was perfect as this role.
Oh, yeah.
Because they keep, it's just like, if you watch the originals and you just think like, how this sounds like something you and I would pick apart. Like, how do these teenagers keep like essentially breaking into businesses or other things and trespassing and getting away with it? Being vigilantes in a way. It's kind of addressing that right away. Like they just got arrested.
So they're letting you know right away, like what to expect from this.
Yeah, it was good. And it was almost immediately after that is when we saw the Don Knotts character. We're seeing their lives in this city that they're living in, or this town, Crystal Cove. And we're seeing them interact with their parents, which I don't know if we've ever seen that before. I feel like we've seen, a few Shaggy relatives, like I think, wasn't there an episode where he had a dead rich Confederate uncle or something that like gave him a mansion, and of course it was haunted. Anyway, seeing them interact with their parents and some of them have siblings and stuff, that was really interesting. And the idea of this town where it's like known for weird activity and being haunted and stuff. It makes so much sense that the Scooby Gang is from here. Like, this is their home. And man, I'm guessing this was a big part for you too, but the Velma and her parents have like a tourist attraction place, and inside of it is like all the costumes of all of the villains from the original series. Like, you got the robot and the scuba diver and like all of that, like all those classic ones that you remember that were a little freaky for you when you were a little kid. They're all there, and that's awesome.
Oh yeah, right when I saw that, I was like squeeing with joy. I was just so excited to see that, and it right away I had such high hopes for this series. Coming in blind to it, not knowing anything about it, they really start you off so well and make you excited and show you what you're getting yourself into. Where it's like, yeah, like we loved these old shows too, so we're going to be like having that as almost like lore in this universe.
Yes,
and that was a really cool way to approach that. Crystal Cove, the banner says like the most hauntedest place on earth.
Yeah.
So Velma's the tour guide, like you said. We do get to see a lot of their family, which is kind of, I think, to my knowledge, and maybe you were right about like Shaggy's relatives too, but I remember Scooby having like obviously his relatives.
We always saw Scooby relatives throughout the other cartoons.
We had Scrappy. We had, what was that old dog? You remember like the white one?
I don't remember that one. I remember his cousin Scooby Dumb.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I know that he was like gray. I know that we saw Scooby's parents at one time in one of the cartoons also. And I don't remember if that might have been a pup named Scooby-Doo or if that was one of the regular series. But yeah, we've definitely seen a lot of Scooby relatives.
I guess the point is, like, we've had development of Shaggy and Scooby both, but their other characters just been like side characters.
Yeah.
And now we're getting to see their families, their lives, and really more personalities from all of them.
Yeah, that was the next thing I wanted to bring up, is just how fleshed out the characters are this time around. And I love that part of it. Shaggy and Scooby are still the same. They are the exact same characters that they have always been. There is literally no difference between them, and that's fine because they're already perfect. They have that mold. Velma is still relatively the same, but she's like more fun. You know, like she's not so, I mean, she's still super intelligent, but she's not so hyper intelligent that she's always serious. Like, she's still kind of a fun person. And they've also added that she's obviously kind of got a little bit of a crush on Shaggy. And Shaggy's kind of terrified of it from what we can see in this first episode. So that was kind of fun. Daphne is very, it was interesting with her, and I feel like I'm not gonna give it justice when I explain, that Velma's got a thing for Shaggy and Daphne has a thing for Fred, but it's kind of like Daphne is struggling to be noticed by Fred, and not in like the typical way that you would think of. It's like she knows that he's a smart guy. That kind of remains to be seen, but like, she has a fondness for him, and she has a big respect for him. Like, she even says at one part to her parents that he's one of those geniuses that nobody understands till they're dead. But it's not just a crush and infatuation. She has a respect for him and his smarts, and not just like his looks or his personality. And he's oblivious
because he's so focused on his traps, and I love that.
This is the best version of Fred we've ever gotten.
Oh,
it's
absolutely
great. They shied away from the, like, in the old ones, he's just the straight man. He's the planner. He's the leader. He gives the orders. He helps set the traps with help from Velma. And that's all he is. He had not much of a personality, but in this, he's so obsessed with setting traps that he can't pay attention to anything else. And it keeps undermining like anything else that he could be doing. Like, it's obsessive and it's hilarious.
For him, life is about solving mysteries and making traps.
Yeah. And he takes way more risks than Fred ever would have. Like, he stole a body from the police. That was the best. He's like, let me go talk to the sheriff. And then he comes running away with this body, and they're like, what happened? He's like, they didn't want to talk.
So how about we do this? Let's not reveal who like the I guess, culprits are.
Sure,
because,
sure.
That's kind of unnecessary. Even like, let's just talk around the story.
Yeah,
and
that's fine.
about the monster, I guess.
Yeah.
Something I just wanted to point out real quick before I forget. So when Shaggy is talking to Velma in the van about like falling asleep and eating pizza while watching horror movies, he mentioned Vincent Van Gogh, who is obviously Vincent Price's character in 13 Ghosts. So I really like that they're tying it all together in this. They're bringing all of it back.
Yeah, it's kind of like everything that's happened up till this is canon. Like it's...
Well, yes, but in a more grounded way, because in this version, Vincent Van Gogh is not a warlock. He's just like an old like horror movie TV show star or something.
Like an Elvira-ish kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Like if Elvira was more like Doctor Strange, kind of like...
Right, yes.
Like that. But yeah, I really like that they're acknowledging all of these characters, at least, that you've known before. They all exist, and that's fun.
And so the monster in this is some really cool looking slime mutant.
Yeah, it's like a slime zombie thing. A green glowy slime
like
zombie.
a skeletal figure inside of slime. Also going on, it ties directly to this, and it's something that you kind of get almost right away. There's this new shop called Fruitmeyer's. Yeah. And Franklin Fruitmeyer is the head of this shop, and it's this like green gooey ice cream stuff that everybody's loving.
Were you getting like the stuff vibes from this right when that happened? Because that's what I was feeling.
Yeah.
They didn't go the way I thought they were going to with it, but it lent itself to that direction originally, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Almost even like the Blob, because of the way that it showed their carcasses, well, quote unquote carcasses inside of the slime.
Yes.
It was really interesting to me because I was wondering, like, is this just what the kids were imagining they were seeing inside of that slime? Because then we see like a later shot of someone like of the culprit putting himself in that slime, and he still looked totally normal. You know what I mean? Like he didn't look like a zombie or a like drained human body. So I think that might be like partially the imagination of the Mystery Inc. to have made it more extreme, and you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, like they're the unreliable narrator, basically, like that kind of way.
Right.
We're kind of seeing a little bit of their bias and imagination, where instead of like the specific facts. But yeah, like the first three victims of this monster look like they're dead. Like they look like they've been turned into zombies, putting these green cocoons. What I love, though, is just how stupid the townspeople were. Like those miners in that first scene when they fall into this cave underneath Fruitmeyer's, basically, and when they get attacked, and just they were cracking me up at like how dumb they were, and it was just. I was like, I love the humor immediately of this show.
Yes, where the lead guy was talking about like, it's got radioactive symbols on it, so I know what we have to do. Open it right away so we can make sure the town's safe or something.
Like, when he first falls through the caves and he's just like, whoops. God, I laughed so many times in this first episode. It just... and one of my favorite jokes was the joke they make about the professor. But they talked to a professor who needed, like, he was hard for money. And I love when Daphne's like, why would you need more money? And it gets all quiet. And then they're all like, oh.
No, yeah, because she's like, but you're a teacher. Why would you need more money? And then it's silence, and you get his like dead stare. And then it's like, oh,
I
you guys
love
are totally
that little social commentary joke put in there. That was one for the adults in the room. And it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, that was really smart, really smartly done, too.
At the end of this episode, after the mystery is solved, they're contacted by someone named Mr. E, who tells them that they're all doomed, and he speaks of the curse of Crystal Cove, and that's the overarching mystery that's happening and tying everything else together while there are all these, like each episode is mostly like a side mystery. This is the overarching thing. This is something that the original Scooby-Doo cartoon didn't have, and something I always wanted. And I think that's great.
Yeah, this is the wraparound story in an anthology, and that's basically what this is. And I like how it calls all of the episodes chapters.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. That's cool.
It calls the seasons volumes.
Nice. Okay. can get in with that little bit of a gimmick. I like when, kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender called them books. I thought that was pretty smart.
Oh, yeah. Oh, something else we should mention, and we didn't really see much of it come into play, but I guess they either partially work at like a radio station or at least work with some people who do, called K Ghoul 104.
Right.
So we at least see like them crashing there sometimes. So I don't know exactly what that is because none of the episodes we watched kind of really had much of that, but we do step into it a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the next episode we watched for today's show was The Shrieking Madness, season 1, episode 12. And this was the one chosen by the PreciseClimber?
Yes, it was. And I'm so glad. Thank you so much for choosing this episode.
Me too.
It was amazing.
This was such a cool episode. One thing I want to point out before we even get started on the episode is, have you ever seen the movie Reanimator?
Yes.
Okay. And Jeffrey Combs, who played Herbert West, also plays H.P. Hatecraft in this show, which is an obvious homage to H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah, dude. I love that. They just changed love with hate, and I think that's funny. I just got to say, and I hope you included an audio clip, I love how he talks in this episode. He just sounds like it just sounds like he's making up gibberish on the fly, and I love it.
So in this one, with Mr. Ink broken up, the gang decides to check out life after high school and spend a weekend at Darrow College.
So they're heading to college, and we don't know exactly all the reasons that the mystery or that the Scooby Gang here split up. We do know that I guess it's hinted that Shaggy and Velma did try to date and then split up, but that he left her for Scooby? Like, I don't know. I guess he was just, it's probably a best friend thing, like I need to spend time with my best friend.
Scooby was so used to getting all his attention that he got jealous, I suppose.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I don't know if that was the main cause of the rift or what, but they all went their separate ways, but they all get dropped off at the same college by their parents at the same time. And they're like, oh, I thought that was funny. Daphne's parents are super waspy, which makes a lot of sense. She's got like, they seem really rich. She's got several sisters who are all very successful. And Daphne's, I guess, is kind of considered the failure. And her parents blame Fred for that, for her chasing after him all the time. Fred's dad, quote unquote, is the mayor of the town, and he's a complete douchebag. Just,
yeah,
it's just, that's how it goes. Velma's parents are just like her. Shaggy's parents are just hilariously mismatched. Like, his dad is more quiet, soft-spoken, short, portly. His mom's like taller, thin, attractive. But I like how when they drop Shaggy off, or the dad does, he's just like, don't embarrass me. Actually, just don't even tell them your last name. I thought it was really good. Like, he's so ashamed of his son.
So let's just talk about like some of the stuff going on right away. We see this Cthulhu-esque monster. I don't remember what those like tentacle face monsters are called aside from Cthulhu-esque. Like, if you think Cthulhu with the tentacles on the face, then you know what we're talking about.
There's like, so, I mean, there's different kinds and all kinds of media. Like Dungeons and Dragons has mind flayers, which are pretty much exactly what that is. Yeah. So yeah,
that's true. Okay, so this one is called Chargar Gothicon, which is this. So Professor Hatecraft is a writer of these fiction books, but he tells people as if it's like a reality that only he is aware of. Like, he's communicating with demons, writing what the demons from the dark dimensions tell him to and whatnot. And you have on the other side of this Harlan Ellison, who is actually a real writer. There's a real science fiction writer named Harlan Ellison who actually played himself in this show. So that was really neat.
I didn't realize that was a real guy. That's awesome.
Yeah. So he is kind of this like esteemed writer who's like having
he's doing a lecture.
Yeah, doing a lecture at the college, and starts to kind of trash talk Hatecraft for, just writing this nonsense or whatever. And there's this one like huge Hatecraft fan who's there that they all start kind of making fun of.
Poor guy.
No, I know. Like, he was so dedicated. We are essentially seeing Hatecraft's creation, this like screaming, or what was it called? The shrieking Cthulhu thing, Chargar, come to life, or brought to life.
Chargar Gothicon. And I was like, I know it's supposed to be someone behind a mask thing, but this thing was doing stuff that I'm like, I don't know how they're going to pull off that this was a person. because that thing could shriek and like it throws people through the air and it busts down walls and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, dang, that is awesome.
I know, not to skip ahead, but I like the explanation as to how that's happening.
Yeah.
I won't say what it is. I don't know if it's like funny because it's so ridiculous. Yeah, I don't want to reveal it, but it's just funny because of how like simple it was. I'll say that.
Well, what's interesting is because I'm such a nerd, I've read up on stuff like this before. This is something that the military has actively been pursuing for a while now. I don't think they have anything that they don't have anything that works to the level that this does, but it's something they've been working on. So I think that's pretty cool. And I geeked out when I saw that because I'm like, I know exactly what this is supposed to be. So it's a technology basically, but it's cool. I do like what's happening with all the characters as they progress through this thing. Like Daphne kind of just accidentally joins a protest group and she's not even sure what they're fighting for. Fred kind of joins a bunch of meathead fraternity dudes that were cracking me up. He shows up and he's just like, yeah, I'm Fred Jr. or whatever. And Fred Jones Jr. and all the guys in this frat freak out and do like, I thought Fred Jones was a myth. And someone's like, I heard he ate a bear. And like all they do is wrestle. They're constantly wrestling. And oh my God, that's funny. Scooby and Shaggy almost vomited because they went to a place that was supposed to be legendary on campus, Campus Burger or something. They got these big burgers and they chomped in and then they almost vomit. It's because it turns out that the place had gone vegan and they were very sad. And I thought that was a kind of funny joke there.
It's great because they're just always in pursuit of food too. And then they're stuck. The only thing that's around them to eat is this place. So they're kind of forced to continuously eat this vegan food for the rest of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Harlan Ellison gets attacked by one of the Cthulhu monsters too. He gets rescued, but then the monster drops that Chargar book. So they're just like, it's weird that he would be carrying a book about himself like that.
Yeah.
If this was a real monster.
Yeah. I mean, you know that it's never going to be a real monster till it is.
Right.
But I got to say, the one thing I didn't like about this episode was I knew immediately who the bad guy was going to be. I mean, as soon as we were introduced to who the character was, I knew that was going to be the culprit. And so that was a little disappointing for me. But there was so much more to love about this episode because this episode was more about just having fun playing with the idea of like Lovecraft, / Hatecraft, and the idea of like what the Mystery Gang, what Mystery Inc. is like by themselves and not as a team anymore. Like it kind of just hung out with their personalities a little bit more, and it was more character development than anything else. And I liked that.
Having to solve this mystery together is what kind of brings them back together as a group, or at least we think it's going to. Well, actually, towards the end, do they get back together?
They do, but they almost don't.
Right, yeah. So they almost don't, and then like this trial of solving this mystery, and like you said, it was kind of predictable with this one. Whereas the first episode threw me. I didn't know, like I wasn't prepared for that one. But then this one, I expected it to be the guy that it was, but. Yeah, this was a cool episode all around. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed the Lovecraft feel to it, especially putting Jeffrey Combs as a starring role. Like, well, not as a starring role, but as Hatecraft. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, this was obviously made by people that love the original Scooby-Doo series, Where Are You, Scooby-Doo? And also people that are big fans of horror and that know, like, I mean, they obviously know the industry people, not just characters and movies and stuff. So yeah, that's awesome.
Specifically Lovecraft fans.
Yeah.
We also get a little bit more of that wraparound story here where there was a theft that we see just as a side thing on the news that somebody's watching, that Haycraft is watching, that there was a library theft of the Darrow family archives. That's just like a throwaway line. It's just on a TV in the background. But then like that comes back around to the end of the episode where the stolen family archives end up on the mystery machine with a note from Mr. E.
Right.
Who is this guy who's kind of revealing information slowly as the episodes go on.
Yeah. And the archives had like, I think someone said it's like pretty much the history of the entire town. So he's definitely trying to show them something fishy's been going on in this town since its like inception. But as viewers, we don't know what that is yet.
But in the next episode, we do find out, because the last episode we watched for today's show was Come Undone, season 2, episode 26, which was the highest rated and also the last episode of this series.
You say we find out. I still have no idea what's happening in this episode. Obviously, so many things led up to this. I was so lost when this started. I mean, obviously, there is a few things that we find out, like that there's pretty much always been, in the vein of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, how there's always been a Slayer from the dawn of time. There's always been, like, basically Mystery Inc. from early civilizations and stuff. They have always existed in some fashion, and they always had some sort of animal companion, which is funny.
Yeah, it's always 4 people and an animal companion.
Yeah, one time wasn't it even a shark?
Well, I saw there was a jaguar. There was...
I think that was the first one, was the jaguar, and yeah, that comes back, sort of.
Yeah, true. And there was a parrot, and that also comes back. Yeah, there's just a bunch of different... I think one of them was a monkey. I don't know, but there's just been... or a gorilla, maybe. But there were so many, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool, like, lore thing to bring this all to a close, but we missed a lot. Yes. You and I at least missed a lot of explanation bringing it to this point. So I'm glad that they gave us at least this like small recap of what was happening at the beginning. Yeah. Otherwise, it would have been completely lost.
Yeah. And this is one thing that's interesting. So in this episode, we can throw out everything we know about a typical Scooby-Doo episode. This time, the monsters are real. This time people can die, and it happens. And it's just like, I had no idea it was going there, and I was very surprised.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about this episode without...
It's hard to do it and not ruin it for the people that haven't seen it. But
okay, let's just say some like basic things. Like you said, people die. Like they're literally being eaten by this giant monster. Yeah. Like you see them like get thrown into his mouth.
Yeah, and they don't come back. They're done.
Yeah, they're gone. You see the previous Mystery Inc., the one directly before the current with Scooby and the gang, who mysteriously disappeared previously. Like they're all there as well. Like they've come back with Professor Pericles, the parrot, who's their animal companion. There are like these German like war bots that are there, like Kriegstaffe bots or something.
Yeah, like Nazi bots, basically.
Nazi bots.
We'll call them Nazi bots. What's interesting is they went big. They went real big. It's basically there's like an ancient evil, and I think that, this is obviously what Mr. E's been trying to lead up to and try to explain. And this is end of the world stuff, man. This is Armageddon right here. I mean, everything's being destroyed. The town is crumbling. Things are burning. He summons these aside from the Nazi bots, he summons these demons, like these minions everywhere. People are dying. It's insane.
This is like Aztecian type demonic force. Yeah. Or not even demonic force. Like it's almost like pure evil, like just focused on consuming this world so that it can consume other worlds and then ultimately consume like realities. And so this is like the big bad, much different than you would ever see Scooby face in any other show or for any other reason. It's like, it's not a guy in a mask anymore. Like this is like apocalyptic stuff.
Yeah. And things get pretty serious. Like and I don't want to say that it loses its humor or anything, but there's some very serious things going on, obviously. And it's kind of like, we can't goof anymore. Like, if we don't do this, we and the world as we know it, we all die. Everyone dies.
One of the things that I was really surprised by was that Scooby kind of steps up.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I mean, he's kind of forced to because he's like the prophecy foretells that it like has to be him.
It's got to be him.
And I thought that was such an interesting way to approach like the Scooby-Doo show in general. Like if you would have told me that, like without me having seen it, I would have been like, oh, that's ridiculous. Like that'll never work. But they totally made it work. And that's so weird for me to say.
And it was cool. It was weird that the the prophecy and everything, like he's kind of being guided by like a spirit, and it's a collie, like the dog.
So see, I wonder if it's one of those things where it turns into a form that he's comfortable with. Or
They
something.
understands.
Yeah.
Yes. And that was pretty cool. I did like that. I think that character was voiced by Amy Acker. Also funny too, just another tidbit is that the crew in Buffy the Vampire Slayer often referred to themselves in the show as the Scooby Gang.
Oh.
That was kind of the nickname for them because, they were a group of people fighting monsters, trying to originally just save the town and then, world-ending things. But yeah, they always refer to them and fans refer to them as Scooby Gang.
You know what'd be awesome is if like in the new like Scooby-Doo Guess Who, if like Buffy like guest starred or something.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be so cool.
That would be so cool. I have been jonesing for a Buffy cartoon for a long time, and we almost got one several years ago, but it just never panned out. But it would be great. It would be a great cartoon.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be ripe for it. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And then, a crossover would be so awesome. I don't know if I want to reveal what happens at the end, but I didn't see that coming at all. That was...
Yeah, let's be vague.
Yeah.
I didn't either. That was really weird. And, but then it's like, is this a victory really? Because now it's like...
I was uncertain.
Yeah, if that's what it kind of feels like.
This is a victory.
It's like, I don't know if this is good or bad, but then there's kind of like a new string that it kind of brings out.
I guess what we can say is there is a resolution to that story, but it changed everything. And now there's a lot of unknowns and just the characters can't function like they used to, like things have changed, and it just, because of such, there's no real going back. There's only moving forward. And at first I wasn't super excited about it until the reveal from Ellison comes to fruition. And then I was just like, dude, like, I hope that they carry this. I know that this was the end of the series. I hope that this is kind of carried forward in another series. I don't know if that's what the series that came after does. Probably not, but that it would have been great.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like leaves it open for continuation, but it could also close the series out as well, which it does in this case. So I don't know if it was a situation where they were hoping to be renewed for a third season, or if they just were, I don't know, kind of expecting to transition into a new series altogether. But I think either way, it ends on a good note.
Yeah, it really does.
A good sort of mystery, if you will.
And I got to tell you, it ends with a laugh track. I mean, there has not been one through this entire thing because, like I said, this is a more grounded thing. But they keep paying so much homage to the original 1969 show that, of course, they throw in a laugh track at the very, very end, the very last thing that you see, and that's great. It just makes you feel good.
The end part of this also has everybody say their catchphrase too, where it's like,
yeah, they all say it.
Hold the phone, jeepers, jinkies, and zoinks. And that gave me like chills hearing that, because it's like, it's such a great like homage to the original.
Yeah, as they're repainting the mystery machine, which was great. And then I think when the laugh track happens is when they're driving off kind of into the sunset, and Scooby does the ooh, and it does the like, the circular, fade to black with the laugh track, and not just the track, but cheers. And yeah, dude, that felt amazing.
Yeah, if they were going to close this out, which they unfortunately did, this was the way to do it.
That was the way to go. 100%.
I'm telling you, man, like, I'm on board to watch the rest of it, though, because especially after reading of all the guest stars and the Hanna-Barbera, like, characters in there, I'm like, I don't know how they're even going to tie those in, but I have to see.
Definitely.
It looks like it's about time we send our inner kids to stow away aboard the Mystery Machine so they can help us figure out what cool horror references we missed out on when we watched Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated.
This cartoon was so fun because the characters are all awesome, and there's all these monsters and traps, and so many traps. And since Daphne keeps getting friend-zoned by Fred, it finally gives me my chance to swoop in. So I gave this cartoon 5 bowls of Chargar Gothicon cereal out of 5.
When I first started watching the show, I was expecting it to be closer to the classic Scooby-Doo style that I know and love. But it turned out to be an evolution of the franchise that paid respect to the classic episode in a tongue-in-cheek-like manner. The animation was gorgeous, the characters seemed much more fleshed out than they typically are, and the nods to some of my favorite scary movies with the spooky colored icing on the cake. Overall, I'd give Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated 5 big bowls of Char Crunch cereal out of 5, and if you're a Scooby fan at all, you've got to check this one out. In closing, I feel like instead of community service, all these unmasked criminals should just create costumes and special effects for horror movies. You saw how well they fooled the whole town of Crystal Cove. There's clearly untapped potential there that the police department is not taking advantage of.
You know, your inner kid brings up a good point. Is just everyone in this place just an amazing cosplayer? Is that what's going on? Have they been going to conventions and we just did not pick up on it?
Man, that would be a really cool episode of Scooby-Doo if they haven't done that yet, like cosplay.
Yeah, where they go to a con or something.
Yeah, exactly. And then the monster ends up being just like a professional cosplayer. That would be topical, I guess.
If they haven't done it, Hanna-Barbera, you know how to find us. Actually, you don't.
They probably don't.
If you could go to nerdslot.com and fill out our contact form.
I'm sure they're going to go through all that trouble.
Please just tell us that we have jobs. That'd be great. So do you have any final thoughts on Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated?
It was a nice surprise because I had no idea I would be this enamored by it. But this is kind of like if another show was paying respect to Scooby-Doo, except it's Scooby-Doo paying respect to itself. So it's such an interesting concept. And I dig every bit of it. Like the characters are great. There's great comedy to it. The monster is still really fearsome. And then tying it all together with that wraparound story was such a cool approach that even though I know the ending, I still need to see all the bits and pieces that lead up to that. So definitely going to watch more. And I think anybody listening should too.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I think your inner kid said it best. This is the perfect evolution of a Scooby-Doo cartoon. It had just everything that I wanted and so many things I didn't expect. The characters are so much better fleshed out versions of the originals. The episodes are all standalone, but still connected within that same town and that overarching mystery that kind of encapsulates everything, but still lets you have the monster of the week feel with every episode. And the monsters are awesome. The animation's beautiful. So many laughs to be had. I mean, just this was comedic gold in this show. I loved it. Tons of homage to the original and horror in general. So seeing the end episode, though it was really awesome. For me, my least favorite out of the 3 we watched is definitely going to be about the journey than the end point for me. And since I already know the end point, I want to see all the bits and pieces, as you said. I have to know and just I need to spend more time with these characters and in this world because it was everything that I wanted and more in a Scooby-Doo cartoon.
So thank you, PreciseClimber, so much for suggesting this. Even though, like Chris said, it might have been like a year ago, I'm glad we finally got to it. If I'd known it was going to be this good, I would have pushed this to the front because this was...
Yeah, we would just deleted the rest of the list.
Yeah, who needs to watch any other cartoons? Let's just watch all 13 Scooby-Doo series and call it a day.
We could just do a Scooby-Doo podcast.
Yeah.
Saturday morning Scooby-Doo.
Saturday morning Scooby-Doo cast.
Yeah, that's the new Scooby-Doo cast. That's got a catchy ring to it. That'll be our new podcast.
Yeah, this is a natural evolution of our show is to turn into a Scooby-Doo show.
It's true. This was a spinoff of an episode of another podcast. So then we'll just do it again.
After the whole red shirt Shaggy saga, I was like, I think I'm good on Scooby-Doo for a while. We've seen enough Scooby-Doo where I've got my fill. But this is me tasting a new flavor of Scooby-Doo that's I didn't even know this existed. And now I have to have more of it.
Like that.
Yeah.
100%. This is... In all honesty, this is probably one of the most refreshing shows that we have watched for a long time. This is the most excited and rejuvenated I've felt in at least a year of watching the cartoons for the show. It was so much fun.
Yes, I came into it like I do every week, and I'm just all right, time to watch my cartoons, take my notes, do my thing. It just paid so much respect to the original and then brought so many new aspects to it that I was completely in love with it from episode 1.
Yeah, it just makes you feel good to watch.
Absolutely. Well, listeners, it looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And next week, we'll be watching.
Guess what? Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to have you pick another number. You're going to pick a number between 1 and 166.
Oh, man, that's a lot of numbers.
That's a lot of numbers. Our list has gotten so big. In fact,
Okay.
someone commented today, like, what the heck? How did it get so big all of a sudden?
Okay. I'm not going to go in the middle again.
Okay.
I'm going to push towards the top a little bit. I'm going to go 38.
38. Let's see. Nice. Okay. I think this will make you happy.
Okay.
So, Joseph, you picked Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. That was suggested by you a long time ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, are you sure you didn't rig this? Did you rig this, Joseph?
No, that's
I think
awesome.
you rigged
though.
it. So, thank you, for picking your own
Thanks, me.
pick without knowing.
I just felt it. I was just feeling 38. I don't know why, but now I know.
You're feeling 38. Is that because you'll be turning 38 in a couple years?
Not a couple years. I've still got many years. That's
My body's feeling 38. My body's feeling 48 right now. So I know. what you mean.
dang. We've still got a ways to go till 38.
I guess.
Once again, I'm Joseph,
And I'm Chris.
and we'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth.
A place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.